Hey team, today we will be talking about how to establish healthy co-parenting relationships. It's kind of a heavy topic. However, I've set time away to deliver it. I hope that I find you in a resting place and you're able to watch. Please like, subscribe, and share to the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. So before we get started, again, I welcome y'all to G Mentions TV. I'm G. As you know, I believe this will be episode number 7. So we're moving forward with the episodes. So if you look at co-parenting and those that have had to experience it, I know it's a very challenging task, and I come from a very humble place when I share what I share. Everything I'm sharing on this is from personal experiences and things that I've had to deal with my co-parenting. So of course, I'm co-parenting as a result of a divorce, right? I don't think anyone gets married to reach a divorce or the expectation of divorce. So when divorce comes and kids are involved, it's the hands that you're dealt, and it's basically the decisions and the focus should come to be on the child more than the past or hurt relationship. So I'll get into my divorce and things of that such a little bit later, but I really want to focus on co-parenting during basically during the divorce and during the time leading up to it, right? Because it's easy to take it personal and not make the best decision for you or your child. So during my divorce, I even had I was co-parenting my stepson. So basically I ended up with, as a result of the divorce, now I'm co-parenting my daughter. Now I still have a relationship with, it sounds weird every time I say it, ex-stepson, right? He still calls me dad and I still go along with his father. But that relationship alone it could be a segment on its own. So having, for the parent that's not biologically connected to the child, having a relationship with the parent that's not in the household, it can be very very stressful and challenging too. But I'm not gonna talk about that too much. I may just do an episode on that by itself. But we have a great relationship. So, and my technology is not up to par right now, so bear with me. I got my notes and things are not in a normal place that they normally are. So and like I said, co-parenting is not easy. But what you have to remember with co-parenting is it gets better with time. Like how you deal with the divorce and you're setting up a visitation and you're going through child support agreements and all that. That's like that's where the rubber is meeting the road and the dust is not settling right, and you want to make sure that you're not being ran over in the process. And all these emotions start to rise, and we try to control what we can, and we start feuding in different ways too with our ex-spouse. But like I say, the co-parenting is really not the difficult part. The difficult part is the past hurt, right? Because you're trying to deal basically on a business level with somebody that you hurt or somebody that hurt you. So it's hard to get past those emotions during that time. Again, this is all speaking from experience. So if you have any questions or concerns, you want to talk further, please don't hesitate to leave comments on the channel itself. So difficult part is championing the past hurt to make the best decision for the child. Like I said, it's not about the hurt, it's about the child. So it's very important that you have to continue to remind yourself that you're making the best decision for the child. You cannot think about what that person did to you or what you did to that person, right? You want the child in the best position at the end of the day. Again, in my personal situation with Inaya, y'all know I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I was married to her mom for 7 years, and I think Inaya was 7 or 8 when we got divorced. Inaya's 14 now, but it was difficult for me to take myself out of it and to remove my self-hurt based on the divorce, right? So I had to find that place and basically move forward from there and focus on the best decision for my daughter. I remember during that time, my job, they really bent over backwards for me. Like, gee, whatever you need, if we can, you need time off, you need this, you need that. And I was distraught. So I was like, man, I had this agreement. I'm supposed to be able to see my daughter every other Christmas or every other this and every other birthday and all that. And with my job, at the time I was a firefighter working shift. We worked 24 on, 24 off, or 48 on, 48 off, whatever the case may be. And I knew that I didn't have the support, being a single dad as a firefighter to support, to have that support at home while I worked, right? So my boss, gee, whatever you need, we'll give you an 8-hour job. That way you can do this and that. And they did, right? They did. However, and I told them, I said, hey, the reality is I'm wearing this suit, right? I'm still active duty. I know I have to deploy and this and that. Sure enough, and during that process, I had to deploy. And I remember having a conversation with a lawyer while I think I was in Africa at the time. And, I was trying to justify my case to this lawyer. She's like, she was trying to decide if she would take the case or not, because I was trying to get full custody and this and that, Again, it was still in the heat of the battle. And the lawyer told me something, I'll never forget it. She said, as an active duty member, you can not, as a single parent active duty member, it's going to be hard for you to justify that you could withstand a steady household for a child. And that's when it just hit me, right? I said, you know what? She's right. Certain things I didn't like how her mom was doing and where she was living and all this kind of stuff. But the principle was my ex-wife was providing stability for my child, right? It was a hard pill to swallow, right? But I had to swallow it because it was the truth. But it's not the end all be all. And again, I'm sharing my experience. So the 3 pillars, right? You must focus, flex, and drive to the important circumstance. The important circumstance is the child and not necessarily that past or that hurt relationship. So first, which is a hard part, it's a hard part to do in any relationship that's in shambles, is you have to first own your part. The other person, or they're crazy. You always hear anybody that's going through something, they always talk about their ex or their spouse. Oh, she's crazy, this and that. Well, if she's crazy, what are you, right? So don't be quick to call people crazy and all this kind of stuff. You have to define your position, right? Whether, yes, you honestly screwed up and this is a result, or maybe you didn't screw up and you were the person that got hurt, right? So really define your position and then move forward from there. So which is the hardest part for us to do, right? Because of course we want to claim victim. We'll claim victim even if we did the hurting, right? Well, I hurt you because of this, or I hurt, or on the other side, well, you hurt me, so you're horrible, but what led up to the hurt? Was it hurt? Two negatives, yes, when you multiply, they make a positive, but two negatives added together make a bigger negative. So So it's very important that you define your part in it, right? Because it's two people come together, different thoughts arise, and different things that happen, and then you have to determine, okay, how deep is the hurt, right? If and the reason why I say that is because certain people are affected by certain things on different levels, right? I've seen people go dealing with stepping out of the marriage, right? I've seen people on both extremes. I've seen people heal, completely heal, truly heal, and live a happy life after stepping out of a marriage. And then I've seen people do the opposite, where they're still married, but that thing is still a big elephant in the room years later. So hurt is kind of subjective to the person that it applies to, or the relationship that is involved. So just know that. So one thing about hurt people, and I'll kind of dig into hurt people, because hurt people are emotionally attached, right? And those actions reflect it. And then the person that maybe did the hurt or trying to justify their peace puts a lot of rationalities and a lot of look at what she's doing now, those types of things. And that's the time to where you try to convert to being the victim, when you were not the victim to begin with. That the person that is hurt is the victim. So hurt people are emotional time bombs, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, we're human. But I encourage you, if you're on the receiving end, and I know it may sound crazy, but take it, take that emotional hurt, let that person get it out. Hopefully it's not a violent situation, but however, that person has to get that hurt out. They have to get that frustration out with you. Again, it goes back to defining your part, right? And then allowing the hurt process, allowing that healing process, because it's not going to be rational, right? So just allow, to the best of your ability, I challenge you to allow that time, whether it's days, weeks, months, or years. Allow that time. But again, I mentioned, that's the time where the spouse, oh, she's crazy, she did this, or he did this, he's crazy, this and that. Well, what you have to understand is a person's behavior was always there. So you always knew that the person had the potential to be or do what they're doing. So when you echo that person's crazy, or you talking to your parents, or you talking to your friends, this person or co-workers, oh yeah, she's crazy. Well, it kind of questions your judgment and character, right? Because again, behavior doesn't change overnight, right? And then you have to, are you a result of that particular behavior? Like, that person maybe be the nicest person ever in the world until you did this, or until this happened. So you have to not to say it's okay for the person to be emotionally unstable and do some some emotional things, actions or movements, but it's very important that you define your peace, right? Kind of talked about removing the practicality from the hurt person. Yes, a lot of it won't make sense, right? It'll blow your mind, the things they do. Why she do this? Why she do that? Why she take a hammer to my car? Why she cut my tires? All this. Again, it has to go back to what was your defining role in the hurt, right? Again, it's all tied to co-parenting and setting up that process. That process is painful, okay? If you look at the sense of hurting, right? So if you hurt, if you hurt a spouse, and I know I think I'm gonna place this in my new category of the lion's den for the men. However, because personally this is my experience, but it could really be the other way around too for the women. But if you hurt someone, they're going to hurt you back. And there's not too many ways that they can figure out how to hurt you, right? So basically, it's a counter hurt. Okay, you did this to me. This is what I'm going to do to you. Okay, and it's not going to be doing the same. They're not going to do the same thing you did to them because, again, to them, that's not hurting you back. You're not feeling it, right? So the I see on Facebook sometimes, people that go through divorce and they say, oh, she don't want me to see my child, and when is enough, and all this kind of stuff. Again, it's obvious that you hurt that person. Like, it is obvious you hurt that person, whether it was one time or years of screwing up. And then that person, again, I say that person because it could be male or female, that person has had enough, right? They reached a point where they had enough and they're hurt, whatever, it's all your fault, and all that good stuff. But you have to remember, you have to own it, right? I know it sucks, and I know you may feel like you're getting ran over and, your ex doesn't respect you and all this kind of stuff, but however, you have to own your piece of it, and then understand that in the midst of things, when you may feel like she's trying to keep you from your kid and all this kind of stuff, let that play out. Just let it play out. Don't respond to it, because again, we're in the heat of the moment, and when you're in the heat of the moment, irrational decisions are made, emotional decisions are made, and then once that healing process begins and hopefully ends, then those circumstances change, right? And then the rationality piece starts to come in, and the reality sets in. So again, let that process go through. Yes, they're gonna want they want your whole check, right? They want that child support, they want alimony, again, they know what you want or you like, what you're focused on, and they find ways to hurt you because you hurt them, right? So just remember that. I know, you may be like, well, gee, I don't want them taking all my money. I screwed up, but hey, this is the amount she should get, or this is the amount he should get. And it might be the case. However, you have to weigh the odds of how much am I going to fight for whatever she wants, or am I just going to give it to her, and then on the back end, am I going to try to change things around, right? I've seen where parents, or the one that did the hurting, pay a lot of lawyer fees to get child support cut, or to get visitation and all that. Again, those things are gonna happen anyways. Like, you're gonna pay child support, you're gonna have to get visitation. Yes, that person may not want you to get visitation and all this kind of stuff. And then everything is magnified, right? Everything is, oh, you drank too much, you're an unfit parent, all that kind of stuff. Last night, I saw you this and that, everything is kind of amplified, magnified, and everything is a big deal. But again, you have to remember that during that whole time, that person's gonna try to get everything from you, get full custody, get all your money, all the good stuff. It's just what to expect. I know it don't sound good, and you probably like, gee, no, she ain't getting my money. I'm gonna fight, and I'm gonna do this. I get it. I get it. However, just have the expectation of how much am I willing to fight to have the same result. Well, I got lawyer, and they cut my child support down to half of what it was gonna be. Okay, cool. If you think it's worth it, then I'm all for it. However, just keep that in mind in the midst of it. That things can get crazy, right? And I understand too, some emotions are like, some emotions are tied to your past. So you're like, man, you know, my dad walked out on me and I can't do this to my kid and all this kind of stuff like this. I get it, but you have to remember that that was your situation and this is the present, right? And you may be successful at getting, I'm not encouraging someone just to give up all rights to their kids, no. Excuse me. But what my intentions of this is to keep your stress level down during the process of co-parenting. Because again, it don't matter if you win, it don't matter how you feel walking at that courtroom. Guess what? You have to deal with that other parent, and at least till that child is 18, and probably pretty much longer than that, right? As you get older, you get a little bit more mature, things don't matter anymore. So just remember that, like, you know, you don't want a custody battle turning into a football game, right? Well, my lawyer said this, well, my lawyer said this, you know, because again, who should all this focus be on? The child, right? And the child doesn't care about all of that. Like, for real. When you're going through and your child is like, you know, hey, where's mommy at? I want to see mommy. Hey, where's daddy? I want to see daddy. You know how innocent that is? That child doesn't care about anything that y'all have going on outside of her daddy or her mom, right? So again, how much are you gonna fuel that custody battle and this and that and all that? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Hey, I want my daddy. Hey, I want my mommy. And you have to be in a place with the child and a place with that parent to say, hey, okay, hey, she wants you today, or she, you know, whatever, right? Because again, that's what matters. At the end of the day, that's what matters. So just keep that in mind that, you know, you have to try to keep yourself, it may become a self-agenda thing, you're trying to get custody and all this, and it should not be about self. It should be about that child, okay? Talked about that. We talked about how you can spend thousands of dollars. I mean, I've seen people spend thousands of dollars on custody battles and child support battles and all this, and guess what? At the end of the day, they still paying something and they're still sharing the child with the other parent. So again, try to make those, not to say you make them outside of the courtroom. Some people say, well, no, G, we need the courtroom because, you know, he trifling, or he this, and he don't do this, you know, all that kind of stuff. I get it, but just keep that in mind that, you know, we just have to try to keep, and I know it's hard because I've been through it. I've been through that. Try to keep a level head and try to stay focused on what's best for that child. Okay. The best, we talked about the best interest of the child. Then we talked about win, lose, or draw. You know, when you're fighting in the court system, or you're fighting with the lawyers, you know, probate or whatever's going on behind the scenes. That, you know, at the end of the day, you might feel like you won, and, oh, I got full custody, or I didn't have to pay her this amount of child support. But just remember that it doesn't matter. At the end result, no one really wins. I don't care if the court says that she pays you X amount of money and you get the child for 90% of the year, whatever, right? But nobody wins, right? So I'm not encouraging divorces. I'm not encouraging divorce or anything like that. But just keep that in mind that nobody really wins, right? It still goes back to the original hurt. So all of that goes back to the original hurt, okay? And I talked about it being in the heat of the moment, you know, all that's in the heat of the moment, the child support amount and all that's, you know, is very tense. But, you know, it's going to be one day that the dust settles and the storm will pass. And that's what I want to remind everyone that's in that to just remain faithful, to remain focused on what you're doing and keep your level head, even if you were the one that did the hurt, okay? It may take months, it may take years, right? But what you have to do is redefine yourself and focus on what you have going on, and again, own it, right? You might have to hear about it for years about what you did, or, you know, how you made somebody feel. And it just comes with it. I'm not saying it's right, but it's the reality of it, okay? sustain your character. Okay, sustain your character, and I don't think I've shared my character segment with y'all, but you know, perception can be changed a lot through word of mouth, right? But your character will remain the same. Character, and I have an episode called "Character is Like Concrete." So just keep that in mind, that you just want to sustain your character, keep a level head, stay focused, stay motivated. Because again, if I know when I was going through it, I said, man, you know, some people I knew committed suicide from dealing with divorce, but I knew that I've seen more people did not commit suicide from a divorce. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be that person, right? I'm gonna get through this, right? As hard as it was, because I did not expect to go through a divorce at all, but it happened, right? But your character is everything. It's a great time to redefine yourself. I know when I went through mine, I had, you know, with somebody for 10 years, and I was like, all right, I was pretty much just doing everything that they wanted me to do, right? I was doing everything like to make them happy. And so when I was by myself, when I was living by myself, I was like, man, well, who am I? What do I want to do? You know, like, you know, all of it was new. So take time to redefine yourself. Like I said, your bloodline will always, there will always be a desire to know who dad or mom is, right? It's not like you're giving up rights for the rest of your life, or, you know, you'll never, you know, she'll keep him away or keep her away from me. And I get the feeling. However, when that does settle, trust me, the dynamics will change also. But it depends, it's contingent on the hurt, right? What did you do? How you know, what trauma did you cause in the relationship? So just keep that in mind. But so after the storm stage ends, the sun shines, right? We talked about there's nothing new under the sun. So people have been through these situations before. So don't think that, oh, you know, this is the end of the world and she's gonna take the baby to another country and I'll never see my baby again. And no, it don't work like that. Wounds heal, but again, it's contingent on the hurt and the hurt level. Time and distance heals too, okay? Time away, right? Time away from each other and a distance, right? My ex-wife, she moved 16 hours away, right, with my child. So it was tough at first, you know, me visiting and things like that. It was, you know, money I did not have. But again, it healed the relationship and it took away a lot of the frustration behind the whole situation. So you know, you take that time. You take that time to focus on yourself and focus on your child, and during that time, you should have you know, kind of grown yourself. You know, move on to other things, whether it's another relationship. Hopefully, it's not too soon, right? 'Cause you have to give yourself time to breathe. You know, you always, I say to myself, you always hear a guy say, "I'll never get married again" when he's married, right? Then when he's single, that changes, right? So my thought process on that is, men, you know, we yearn for compassion, right? We yearn for a relationship, things of that such. However, men or women are the same way. They yearn for relationship and all that good stuff. So it's easy to say when you're in something, oh, I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again. You know, and then at the same time, you find yourself single, yearning for that thing that you once said that you didn't want to have. So, the thing about, you know, child support, again, there's going to be some kind of support, whether it's not as much as, you know, you're fighting to get it dropped down or whatever, or, you know, or you're fighting to get it from the spouse. So it's important that that person takes that time to realign their finances, realign their way of life, because you will have to pay something, whether it's, you know, a monthly thing, or you gotta buy clothes for the kid, or whatever. But you have to set aside the finances to support the child. Because again, it's about the child. It doesn't, I always hear guys say, oh, she taking that money and doing this, and she going out to the club and all that. You know what? It doesn't really matter what she does with the money, because again, you're focusing on your child. You know that your child requires X, Y, and Z. And how she uses that, if she wants to pay a bill with it, she wants to get clothes for the child, that's at her discretion, but you've done your part, right? And then I never had to experience arrears, but you don't, from what I'm told, you don't want to experience arrears. So arrears is like school loans, right? You don't pay them, they tax you, they mess your credit up, all this kind of stuff. So you want to make sure you stay current with your child support. And again, when you're, I know men, I've had businesses where the guys say, nope, don't deduct my check, pay me under the table, because I ain't paying that girl nothing. Again, it's not about the girl, it's about the child, okay? So be honest with yourself, take care of your responsibilities, let the dust settle. If you caused the hurt or you were hurt, let the healing process be fulfilled and move on. That's all you can do. So, and then wait on that 18th birthday. No, but love your kids. It doesn't matter about the co-parenting situation. Me and my ex-wife, we have a pretty good relationship. I paid my, I'll tell y'all this and I'll get off because we're at 30 minutes. But I sent her my money. I sent her child support and all that. I kind of overpaid her, right? So, I had to ask her for that little money back. So I'm not scared, right? But again, that's the relationship that I have, with my ex-wife. So, but just know that, like, again, you have to be a teammate, and you have to co-parent, and that child will always, I didn't see it at the time, I didn't see it at the time as far as sustaining a relationship with my daughter. I thought, oh, she'll forget who I am and all this kind of stuff. But, she's 14 now, and I was daddy then, and I'm still daddy. So I just encourage y'all, and this is not to say it was directed to men, but that was my personal experience. Women, it's kind of the same, you can kind of apply this to the same situation, whatever fence that you're on in these unfortunate circumstances. So I encourage y'all to focus, flex, and drive, and then also subscribe, like, and share the video. All right, you have a good one. Peace.